I'd like to welcome you all for coming tonight to hear our exciting speaker who is very knowledgeable about Middle Eastern affairs. It's a very relevant topic, very timely. As you know, the Middle East is going through major historic changes, and we'll be able to have good information from our distinguished speaker, Mr. Chris Toensing, who lived in the area and works in Washington, D.C. now with close ties to the Middle East. I want to welcome you to the Council on World Affairs, especially those of you who came here for the first time. I'd like to welcome the young people in the audience. We're very excited always to see young faces. We have many students from several universities here, and we encourage you to pick up on our programs on the site ccwa.org and try to join us here. You will like the engagement with the speakers and the quality of the presentations and topics. The Council is an old established organization in the city, 90 years old, and we pride ourselves of having engaged the community here with international speakers. We hold public speaker program at least 8 to 10 events a year. And we carry a lot of other activities in the city as well. We sponsor the Model UN in the city. Probably many of your kids went through that program. It's a great program in the city here, and we encourage you to support the council so we can grow that program as well. We also host international delegations that come from all over the world through the State Department, to the tune of about 250 to 300 professionals that come to Cleveland every year in different specialties, different professions, ranging from nurses to engineers to architects to state governance, parliamentarians, etc. And those people come to Cleveland for limited time, few days. We ask people to host them in their homes. This is a great opportunity for you to host one of these groups and interact with them. It's usually a very positive experience throughout the years. And we built relations in the city with many organizations as well that help us in accommodating these teams that come to town. Without their support, it would be difficult to carry on these missions. Today, I like to particularly recognize and acknowledge the support of the Port Authority in Cleveland, that with the Coast Guard that hosted and engaged several teams that came from Kazakhstan, Russia, Ukraine, Mongolia, Thailand, and other countries. They've been very helpful. They host them, they engage with them in their specialties and areas of training. And today, I like to ask the representative of the Port Authority, Vice President of Maritime and Logistics, Mr. Dave Goulite. Personal thank you, and I ask you to come for a few minutes.
Thank you for the introduction and for having me here tonight. As Dr. Corey said, it's really a pleasure when we're able to have visitors into the port, especially from an international standpoint. As you know, we're a global function down on our docks, handle a lot of product and cargo in and out of our facility, and to host folks from places like Kazakhstan, and I believe we might have met the entire Coast Guard of Kazakhstan when they came in. They didn't confirm that, but that's kind of our sneaking suspicion. There were 6 or 8 of them, and those guys were a riot. The other group we hosted was from Vladivostok, and those folks were great as well. Took a lot of pictures of the facility. I don't think I've been in that many pictures since my senior year in high school. They wanted pictures of trains, planes on Burke Lake for an airport. I had to explain to them that wasn't part of our operation, but we'll get you over there, as well as some ships that we're in. So it's great to learn about best practices at other facilities around the world, and pleased to see so many of you here, hopefully who are supporters of what we do and what our mission is, which is to bring economic activity, jobs, and an increased cargo presence to this facility. As you know and may have been aware of, we announced that we're going to have a scheduled liner service starting next year that's going to handle containers internationally. No other port on the Great Lakes does that. So that's the next business development initiative we're undertaking. And for the students here, as Dr. Corey said, I'm glad to see many of you here, and hopefully you'll also consider one day a career in the port or the maritime business. It's a lot of fun. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. I have to tell you a secret that Margaret Thatcher and the current president of China were in one of these delegations about 40 years ago, coming to United States through International Visitors Program. So you will get to meet quality people and build relations with them in the future. If you have interest in hosting, please contact our office people. Finally, I want to thank Professors Pete Moore and Josh Stacker in particular for giving us the lead for the speaker tonight and being supportive of the council and bringing several students tonight. Thank you, Josh and Pete. And we're very proud of our president, Ambassador Heather Hodges. She will be presenting the speaker.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Cleveland Council on World Affairs series on global issues for Cleveland's global citizens. I think it is obvious as we were planning our series this year, it was obvious that we were going to be taking a look at the Middle East. And in the end, we scheduled 3 events on the Middle East. We had one, it was the opening for this year's series, which was Ambassador Thomas Pickering and Jessica Matthews talking about Iran. And then let me jump ahead to January when we're going to have Dr. Michael Hudson, who's going to be talking on Arab politics, still searching for legitimacy. And then the third of the speakers is our speaker tonight, Chris Toensing. Since 2000, year 2000, he's been executive director of the Middle East Research and Information Project and editor of its magazine, The Middle East Report. He's written many articles in U.S. newspapers, the Los Angeles Times, the Boston Globe, and he's also appeared on radio and TV in the United States, and probably elsewhere. That's just my information about the United States. And while just gave away my secret source of information, because I was going to say that when we were looking for a speaker, we contacted people that would know the Middle East, and Chris Toensing was highly recommended to us as a speaker. And particularly, it was pointed out that he is a person who really knows the region. Many times you have academics who specialize in a particular country. Chris knows the region very, very well. Today I had the privilege of joining him in a program that we were doing with some high school students, and that was very obvious to me, and you're going to see that. The rest of the bio information is in your program, and really we're very happy to have Chris with us. Chris?
Okay, can everybody hear me okay, including in the back? All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Khoury, and thank you, Ambassador Hodges, and thank you, Josh and Pete, for arranging this. Hi, Josh. And thank you, very warm thank you to the entire staff of the Cleveland Council for World Affairs, which has given me such a warm welcome in your great city today. I'm very pleased to be here. This is my second visit, and as I say, it improves every time. So, looking forward to coming back. This evening, I want to, oops, not quite yet. Yeah. Yes, that's right, a popular uprising against me. This evening, I want to take kind of a broad overview, kind of a deep historical view of what led to the tumult that is sweeping across the region, especially the Arab world. And really has been since late 2010, early 2011. I think really no matter what country we look at, from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea and even in North Africa as well, virtually every Arab country is in some degree of political turmoil at present. ranging from low-grade popular discontent to what we see in Syria, outright civil war. In some ways, the political tensions and the hostilities that we see today are familiar from the past, but in many ways, the situation today, to long-term observers, is worse because it comes only 2 years after a period in which we felt the greatest hope that we felt in our entire careers, our entire professional lives, studying the Middle East. And this is true of my colleagues who have been studying the region for 40 years, as well as those like me who have been studying it for 15 or 20. And before we get into the present situation, I want to hearken us all back to what the atmosphere was like in the region, and for those of us who are concerned about the region just as recently as 2 years ago. Let's recall that feeling before we proceed. What I'm going to show you in a minute here is a video clip done by my favorite hip-hop artist, who is actually a Syrian-American who goes by the stage name Omar Efendim, which is a multiple pun in Arabic for those of you who get it. And Omar is based here in the United States, but he did this clip in solidarity with the, at that time, largely peaceful, nonviolent popular uprising against the regime in Syria, and this is his tribute to that movement. I warn you in advance, there are a couple of graphic images sprinkled throughout, not too many. I also would like to direct your attention to the end, especially for those in the audience who understand Arabic. There are some rhyming couplets in Arabic, which I will translate later, but listen for them. So if we can play that, please. Okay, thank you. Well, I showed that clip for a couple of reasons, not because it's authentic to the Syrian uprising. It's produced by an American, and it's an art form, hip hop, that some Syrians engage in, but it's not sort of indigenous to the rebellion. But rather, there are a few things about this, the video that I find very compelling and that speak to the nature of the spirit of those days. That rhythmic chant that echoes throughout the clip as sort of a refrain, a shab, you read, is called the nizam. In Arabic, that translates into English as "the people want the fall of the regime." This was the iconic slogan of the Arab revolts that began in Tunisia, migrated to Egypt, then to Yemen, then to Bahrain, then to Syria, and to other countries in the region. It was a powerful, uniting slogan, which conveniently is very rhythmic in Arabic, as you heard, and very catchy. At the end, also, there were some rhyming Arabic couplets, and I'll just translate two of them. The first was, "O Bashar, you liar, your freedom is at the door, get out of here." And the second one was, "O Maher," who is Maher al-Assad, that's Bashar's brother, "you are a minion of Satan. The people of Syria are tired of being humiliated. We won't take it anymore. Get out of here." Those couplets were not written by Omar Effendi.